Christina Caine, founder of the A21 campaign, which is a campaign that deals with the injustice of human trafficking, says, "It's easy to ignore suffering when it's nameless and it's faceless." One of the main ways that humans ignore suffering is by placing a number or a statistic on a group of people. If we can think of a number instead of a neighbor, then it's a lot easier for us to go on with our normal day lives. According to the Polaris Project, which is a U.S. organization that helps fight against slavery, there are actually 27 million people enslaved in the world today for human trafficking. 80% of that 27 million are women and children. And although this seems like a distant problem for us here in Statesboro, Georgia, I want you to know that slavery still exists in the United States. Atlanta, which is just 3 hours away, is actually one of the largest trade ground cities for human trafficking. I would like to inform you about modern day slavery. Although this global issue seems like an issue of the past, there are actually more slaves in the world today than there have ever been before in our history, and the statistics do not seem to be decreasing. This past January, I went to a Christian conference, Passion 2012, where the platform was to raise awareness about slavery in our world today, and it was through this conference that I became aware of these shocking statistics. Today I will discuss the two types of human trafficking and where human trafficking is prominent in the southeast of the United States. Let's begin by defining human trafficking and the two types of modern day slavery. According to the Convention of Transnational Organized Crime, human trafficking is broadly described as the transfer or receiving of people through threat or abduction in order to maintain control of a person for the purposes of exploitation. This really gives us a picture of people actually just being treated like mail, being shipped and delivered to unpredictable locations. And the two ways to clear up this definition even more is to discuss the two types of human trafficking. The largest and most profitable would be sex slavery, and this incorporates both genders and people of all ages. Some examples of this would be prostitution and mail order brides. Although these statistics do not exclude males, the Alabama Nurse says that 80% of sex slaves are women, and 50% of those women are minors. The second type of modern day slavery is labor slavery, and these people are forced to work for little or for no pay. And there are actually 12.3 million people subject to labor slavery. According to a journal article by Elise, forced slavery takes place in areas where there's high unemployment, poverty, and crime. As you can tell, these statistics are very shocking, but to drive home the statistics even more, I want to discuss modern day slavery in the southeast of the United States. Looking just at our history with it in the 1800s, it's really hard to even fathom such large numbers with these statistics. I mean, after all, didn't we end slavery with the Emancipation Proclamation? The answer to that would be no. According to a book, Human Trafficking: A Global Perspective, slavery actually still exists in all 50 states of the United States, and it's even more prominent in the Southeast. There are some factors that do make the Southeast a breeding ground for human trafficking activity. Illegal immigrants, or places where a lot of illegal immigrants are hosted, are places that traffickers look for, because if there's no legal documentation on a person, then they're more likely to become enslaved because the U.S. government has no record of them. Traffickers also look for places of low educational and social resources. Although traffickers do look for areas of high immigration and low poverty, this does not exclude developing cities like Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta, Georgia is one of the largest centers for human trafficking. And they have the largest commuter airport. So with all of this movement in Atlanta, traffickers can actually enslave people almost as it's going unnoticed. As you can see, developing cities and developed cities have their own problems based on their economic setting. The past couple of minutes, we've looked at what modern day slavery looks like in our world today by looking at the two most common types of human trafficking. They're commonly sex slavery and labor force slavery, and the numbers are increasing daily. Slavery holds no prejudice against gender, age, or area. And although Americans think that slavery ended with the 13th Amendment, it can be said that not even the United States of America is safe from slavery's grip.